24/7 sa iyong mga pilitan. Dito, bida ka.
Inihatid sa inyo ng With Love John Foundation Incorporated sa ilalim ng pamumuno ni Dr. Bernie Miguel sa pakikipagtulungan ng Department of Education, Kidapawan City Division, Provincial Government of Cotabato at ng Notre Dame Broadcasting Corporation. Ito ang Radyo Eskwela. Radyo Eskwela. Lunes hanggang Biyernes, ganap na alas 10 hanggang alas 11 ng umaga at alas 3 hanggang alas 4 ng hapon. Radyo Eskwela sa DXND, Radyo Bida.
Maayong hapon, usa ka makulimkilom no nga kahaponon ang ibungad sa ato dinis Kidapawan City. Apan welcome kamo sa atong panghapong edisyon sa Radyo Eskwela dinhi sa DXND Radyo Bida Kidapawan. Syempre simulcast ta sa DXMS Radyo Bida Cotabato City. Maayong hapon, ako si Marlon Bulasa.
Maayong hapon usab sa atong mga suking tigpaminaw ko probinsya sa North Cotabato, sa atong mga listeners sa Facebook Live. Ayan, magandang hapon po. Welcome pag-usab din sa radio-based instruction sa Radyo Eskwela. Alright, today is Monday, pang duha nga hugna na usab na mga igala sa ato ang Radyo Eskwela. Sa ngalan sa atong kauban nga si Gladys Mir Pontongan, kini si Crizaldian Sampani Binyes.
Of course, ang Radyo Eskwela na tigayon na pinaagi sa With Love John Foundation Incorporated, ang Department of Education, Kidapawan City Division.
And of course, sa pagpanguna kini ni SDS Omar A. Obas and inubanan usab ni ASDS Ma'am Asmin Isla and our RBI coordinator Ma'am Shirley Dua. Usa ka maayong hapon sa atong mga tigpaminaw sa tanan. Welcome ug magpadayon kita dinhi sa ato ang mga nagkalain-lain nga usab nga hisgutanan sa radio-based instruction.
O karong hapuna atong hisgutan ang bahin sa science, no? Pinaagi sa grade 5 o grade 6 nga RBI sa science.
Alright, and sa atong mga ginikanan, sa atong mga estudyante, mga learners nato, I hope nga naanseran na, naskanan ninyo ang inyong module sa grade 5 and grade 6 para sa atong science subject tungod kay dunay reinforcement, dunay mga assessment nga ipatigayon sa ato ang RBI karon, atong madunggan pinaagi sa atong mga radio host and radio teachers.
Alright, kabong Crisel, dili na kita maglangan.
Alright.
Ang una natong ipasundayag mo ang science grade 5. Busa ang pangutana.
Ang pangutana, grade 5 learners para sa science nga subject, andam na ba mo?
Andam na.
Alright. So karong takna mga higala 5 alas 3:14 na. So ato'y padungog kaninyo ang ato ang RBI alang sa science para sa atong mga grade 5 learners.
Good day, young scientist. How are you? Are you excited for our new lesson this afternoon? Very good. This afternoon, we will learn many things about matter. Before we start, let's have a recap on the concepts that we learned from our previous module. Last time, we learned about properties of matter. We classified matter as either useful or harmful objects. Now, let us check your understanding. Can you identify whether these materials are useful or harmful? Wonderful! Let's start with the first material. Is an empty disinfectant bottle useful or harmful? Correct. An empty disinfectant bottle is useful since we can recycle it and use it again to store disinfectants. What about drained batteries? Is it useful or harmful? That's right, this material is harmful. There are chemicals inside these batteries that can harm you, especially if you consume these chemicals. Our third material is a broken glass. Is it useful or harmful? Very good. If this material is not handled carefully, it can definitely hurt you. For our last material, is a plastic water bottle useful or harmful? You got it right. A plastic water bottle is very useful because you can use it again to store water that you can drink. Job well done, students! You really learned a lot from your previous module. You are now ready for our next lesson. Before we start, kindly get your grade 5 science module, Module 2, Changes in Matter. Ready your pens and extra paper. Find a comfortable place and listen well for today's lesson. Ready? Let me introduce to you our radio teacher, Sir Steve from Kidapawan City Division.
Hello there, grade 5 pupils. This is Sir Steve from DepEd Kidapawan City Division, guiding you in exploring the wonderful world of science. Are you ready for our lesson this afternoon? Very good. Before we start, please make sure that you have with you your grade 5 science self-learning module. Also, find a comfortable place and clean table for our experiments. As mentioned earlier, we are going to learn new things about matter. Matter is everywhere, right? Matter is anything that has mass and takes up space. And did you know that everything that is made of matter experience both physical and chemical change? That's right. Matter experience these changes. In this lesson, we will learn about the different changes in matter. Our objectives for today's lesson is to investigate changes that happen in materials with the absence or lack of oxygen, and investigate changes that happens in materials due to the application of heat. Before we start our first experiment, let us first identify what physical and chemical changes are. Physical change refers to observable changes in objects, like changing the object's appearance, while chemical change refers to changes in matter's chemical composition. Let us identify whether the following materials undergo physical or chemical change. Open your module on page 4 and let's perform Activity 1. Let's try this. All you need to do for this activity is to place a check on the blank space if the picture shows chemical change, and X if it does not. Ready? Number 1. Broken glass. Is it a check or X? Very good. That's an X. Even though the glass is broken, it is still the same material. It only changed its appearance. What about number 2? Cooked adobo. Is it a check or X? That's right. A check. A cooked adobo is a very good representation of chemical change. Not only did the ingredients change in appearance, there are also change in taste, which shows that there was a chemical reaction. Now it's your turn to answer items number 3 to number 5. Good job, students! Let us try to answer the guide question. What factors affect chemical change? Very good! The factors that affect chemical change are the temperature and the presence of materials that react to other materials. Good job, kids! You did well on our first activity. For our next activity, we will observe further how chemical change occurs. Now turn to page 5 of your module and go to What's New section, Activity 1, What Makes Some Fruits Turn Brown. For this experiment, we will be using the following materials. We need a banana, an eggplant, and a knife. A quick reminder, kids, please be careful in using a knife. Please ask assistance and guidance in performing this experiment. Are you ready? Let us perform our first experiment. Cut the eggplant and banana into half and observe its color. Soak the eggplant and banana into water. Take it and set it aside. Wait for a few minutes and observe what happens. While waiting for a few minutes, record your observation on the color of the freshly cut eggplant and banana on the table below. Write your observation on the second column. Now it's time to go back to our eggplant and banana. What did you observe in their color? Record your observation in the third column in the table below. Good job, kids! Now let us answer the guide questions on page 6 of your module. Question number 1. Is the present color of eggplant and banana different from their color when they were freshly cut? Yes, there is a change in color to the banana and eggplant compared to when it was freshly cut. Question number 2. What contributes to the change of color after cutting them and setting them aside? That's right. The presence of chemicals in the surrounding contributes to the change of color. What changes took place in both halves of the sliced eggplant and banana? Correct. There is chemical change in the slices of eggplant and banana. Question number 4. What is the sign that the material undergo chemical change? Very good. The change in color strongly indicates that there is chemical change. Finally, question number 5. Can it turn back to its original form? No. We can no longer return it to its original form. Good job, kids! Now let us answer the guide questions on page 6 of your module. Question number 1. Is the present color of eggplant and banana different from their color when they were freshly cut? Yes, there is a change in color to the banana and eggplant compared to when it was freshly cut. Question number 2. What contributes to the change of color after cutting them and setting them aside? That's right. The presence of chemicals in the surrounding contributes to the change of color. What changes took place in both halves of the sliced eggplant and banana? Correct. There is chemical change in the slices of eggplant and banana. Question number 4. What is the sign that the material undergo chemical change? Very good. The change in color strongly indicates that there is chemical change. Finally, question number 5. Can it turn back to its original form? No. We can no longer return it to its original form. Job well done, young scientists! We were able to observe how chemical change occurs. In that experiment, we saw that the eggplant and banana changes its color when it's cut. This is due to the presence of oxygen. Oxygen is part of the air that surrounds us. When fruit and vegetables are cut, oxygen will react to the cells of its materials, causing it to change in color, like what happened to our banana and eggplant. Oxygen can also cause rusting. It is when oxygen reacts with iron. Another common effect of the presence of oxygen is combustion. Fire will only be produced if there is heat, fuel, and oxygen, meaning we cannot produce fire with the absence of oxygen. Those are how oxygen causes change in matter. For our next experiment, we will observe how heat affects matter. Now turn to page 15. What's new section? Activity 1, Physical Change. For this experiment, we will be using the following materials. We will need ice cubes, improvised heater, lighted candle, casserole or cooking pot, butter or lard, and a spoon. You may also use margarine as a substitute for butter or lard. A safety reminder for everyone, please be careful in doing this task and ask assistance from your parents or guardians. For your task, place a small slice of butter, lard, or margarine in the spoon. Place the spoon over the flame of a lighted candle and make observations and record the results. Turn to page 16 of your module for the next step. Place the spoon with butter, lard, or margarine over the ice. Find out what happens and record your observations. For your second task, pour a glass of water in a casserole or a cooking pot. Place it over a heater. When the water boils, cover the casserole or cooking pot. Make observations. Remove the casserole from the heat and remove the cover. Let it cool for 5 minutes and observe what happens. Good job, kids! You were able to perform the different tasks. Record your observations on the table on page 16 of your module. Write down your predictions and observations in our experiment. Now let us answer the guide questions. Question number 1. Can application of heat change materials? Yes. Based on our experiment, we were able to observe the physical change of materials we use in the activity. Question number 2. What physical change does matter undergo? That's right. The materials undergo changes in appearance, like when the butter melts or when the water boils. Question number 3. What properties are affected when matter undergoes physical change? Correct. The material's physical appearance changed. Finally, question number 4. Can it go back to its original form? Very good. Yes, it can still return to its original form. That was a very fun experiment. By doing that experiment, we were able to observe how heat causes changes in matter. When heat is applied to matter, matter may change its phase. We have 5 examples of phase change. We have melting, solidification, condensation, evaporation, and sublimation. Melting occurs when solid change to liquid when heat is applied. Solidification occurs when liquid becomes solid with the absence of heat. Evaporation involves a liquid becoming gas when it absorbs heat. Condensation, on the other hand, involves gas becoming liquid when there is no heat. Finally, sublimation occurs when heat is absorbed by a solid material which directly changes it to gas. These changes in phase are all example of physical change. Physical change involves changes in size, shape, or state without changing its composition. Can we observe chemical change by applying heat in objects? Yes. We can also observe chemical change with the application of heat, like cooking an egg and burning a piece of paper. Now it's time for you to check your learning by answering what's more activities in Lesson 1 and Lesson 2 of your module. That's all for our lesson this afternoon. I hope you learned a lot of new things about the properties of matter. Now it's time to test your learning and understanding about changes in matter. Are you ready, kids? If you are, let me welcome back our host, Ma'am Dayan.
Thank you so much for that wonderful lesson, Sir Steve. I hope you listened well from our lesson and learn a lot of new things. Before we start our short quiz, let us first have a quick review on the things that we learned. We learned that matter undergo physical and chemical change. Physical change involves changes in matter's size, shape, or phase without changing its composition, while chemical change involves changes in the matter's chemical composition. We also learned that the presence of oxygen can cause chemical reactions to other materials like fruits and vegetables. Oxygen is an important ingredient to produce a fire. On the second part of our lesson, we learned about how the presence of heat affects matter. The application of heat can cause phase change in matter. There are 5 examples of phase change in matter, which are melting, solidification, evaporation, condensation, and sublimation. We also learned that the heat can also cause chemical change in other forms of matter around us. We really learned a lot of new things from today's lesson. I know that you listened well from your teacher, and you are now ready to answer the question from our short quiz. Ready your pens and paper for question number 1. When a new substance is formed with different properties than the original substance is called A. Physical change, B. Chemical change, C. Mechanical change, or D. Both A and B. Correct. The answer is letter B. Chemical change. Question number 2. Which of these is the product when iron is combined with water and oxygen? Is it A. tie wire, B. rust, C. nail, or D. galvanized iron? Very good. The answer is letter B. Rust. Question number 3. Which of these is not an example of physical change? Letter A. Cutting trees, B. grinding coffee, C. spoiling of food, or D. breaking of glass? Correct. The answer is C. Spoiling of food. Last question. Why should you keep butter away from fire? Is it A. to keep it solid, B. to keep it liquid, C. to keep it taste, or letter D. to keep it fresh? That's right. The answer is letter A. To keep it solid. You did great, learners. You did great, learners. I hope you enjoyed our lesson for today and also enjoyed our experiments for this afternoon. There are more activities in your modules. Please make sure to answer them. If you have questions, you can always contact your science teachers.
Like a small boat on the ocean, sending big waves into motion.
This has been a very fun afternoon, kids. Tune in next time for our next science lesson. This is your radio host, Teacher Crizaldayan Sampani Binyes from Kidapawan City Division. Keep calm, be safe, and love science. Daghang salamat.
No, I've still got a lot of fire left in me.
Radyo ESKWELA.
Alright, ang atong oras, 41 minutes after 3. Siyempre pa, maugad to ang atong RBI sa Science Grade 5. Siyempre, congratulations sa atong mga radio host o radio teacher. Criselda Yan Sampani Viñas o si Steven Pahang.
And of course, Ma'am Lourdes Kahulugan, the science coordinator
Yes.
nato is watching right now. Hi, Ma'am Lourdes. Good afternoon.
Congrats, ma'am, for
Congrats kay
another
Steven.
beautiful
Presentation.
Ayan. And congratulations kay Sir Pahang kung naminaw siya karon
Correct.
na sa ilahang taga-asa ba siya, Lubimin.
Sige, sige.
Lubimin.
Alright, sige, go ahead.
Okay. Diretso tada, no? Padayon gyapon ta, no? Ang sunod, i-plaster na kaubang Dayan ang grade 6.
Gusto ko yung Dayan. Alright, sige.
Dayan, manggod yung
Ma'am
tawag.
Dayan. Okay, pwede naman din. Teacher Dayan.
Wala ko naanad.
Oo nga. Sige na, grade 6. Alert! Atiman naman sa inyong mga modules. Diha, mga ginikanan, palihog o atiman sa mga inyong mga kabataan. Kay ang grade 6 science, ato nang ipadungog kaninyo.
Here we go.
Alright, ang atong oras is 3:42 in the afternoon. So, ang inyo napaminawan kagani is ang grade 5 no nga RBI sa atong science. And right now, ato ipadungog kaninyo tungod kay dunay mga technical problems, but ang atong hangyo sa atong mga ginikanan is iplastar ang inyong mga anak dinha tungod kay ang grade 6 na sad ang ilahang lesson ang atong pagpaminawan. Hopefully na scan ug hopefully na answera na ninyo inyong grade 6 nga module sa inyong science kay para dire-diretso po no. This lesson is just a reinforcement sa inyong module. So right now okay na ba kaubang Marlon? All right, this is the grade 6 science for our learners.
Evidence is like a clue that something is true. Scientists collect evidence through observations and experiments. Scientists use evidence to understand the world around us. Around us. We need evidence to help.
Good morning, future scientist. Welcome once again in our School on the Air in Science class. It's a brand new day, and it's time to unlock a new chapter of adventure as we continue to learn science. I'm sure you're now ready to learn and explore another lesson for today. Go to your table now, focus, and let's get started.
Scientists use evidence to understand the world around us. Around us.
This time, I would like you to get your self-learning module in Science 6 for you to be guided in our lesson for today's broadcast. Our objective is to describe techniques in separating mixtures such as decantation, evaporation, filtering, sieving, and using magnets. Again, our objective for today's broadcast is to describe techniques in separating mixtures such as decantation, evaporation, filtering, sieving, and using magnets. In our previous lesson, you learned that mixtures are a combination of two or more substances. They can be classified as homogeneous and heterogeneous. In addition, they can also be grouped according to their composition and appearance. Before we move on to our next lesson, let us recall what those abilities are. Open your module on page 6. Let us try answering activity named Creating Mixture under What's in part of the module. Wow! Good job, kids! I'm happy that you can still remember our past lesson. Hello once again, learners. By this time, you already have knowledge on what mixtures are. Is this true? Mixtures are formed by physically combining two or more substances. Since they are made up of different components, they can also be physically separated from mixture. Are you ready to learn the techniques of separating mixtures? What are you waiting for? Let's go! So now, your radio teacher will introduce our lesson for today. So sit back, relax, and be sure your module is ready.
Straight up now, tell me, do you really want to separate a mixture? Or is it just a solution? Mixture separating, the particles will settle again. Decantation, or is it filtration? Cause liquids pass right through the filter. No silence, another receding. Evaporation, distillation. Spinning, centrifuging, it's separating the suspension. Well then,
let me see all the substance and mixtures, broken all the parts of two or more. Choose a method and what's in the mixture, and on the
well, straight up I tell you, I just really want to separate a mixture. Come on, is it just a liquid sun?
Good day, kids. This is your radio teacher. I'm Teacher Steven from Kidapawan City Division. I'm so happy today to be with you to explore and have fun while learning science. Are you excited? I'm sure you are. Let us now proceed to our lesson for today. Don't you know that mixtures are formed by physically combining two or more substances? Since they are made up of different components, they can also be physically separated from mixture. In this lesson, we will understand the techniques in separating mixtures. I'm sure you are excited to learn more. Are you ready for our first activity? In this activity, you will think of some ways by which you could separate mixtures. What are you waiting for? Let's go! Open your module on page 9 and look for activity 1 named The Right Choice. Our objectives for this activity is to describe techniques in separating mixtures. Don't forget the instructions given. Write your observations and don't forget to answer the guide questions. You can answer it later after our broadcast.
Combine some elements yesterday, found out that they combine chemically. You don't really know how it has changed. The physical
kids. I'm sure you have some questions now in your mind. But don't worry, your radio teacher will now have his discussion to answer your questions. So better be ready to listen to your radio teacher.
Scientific method, 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 scientific. First you make an observation of the world around. Take notes.
Learners, suppose that you were asked by your mother to separate fruits. How will you do it? Easy, right? You will simply pick out the fruit and separate them from each other by using your hand. This method, it can be separated by just picking them out with the hand, is called picking. This method is used when substance that needs to be separated is in small quantity. The components of the mixture can be separated on the basis of size, color, shape, or weight. When do you use picking method in school? That is when you help clean your surroundings with litters. How about in your home? Of course, when you pick up the toys which were left scattered in your receiving room by your brother or sister. Let us do share in cleaning by using the technique of picking.
Science is everywhere, every day. Plants are growing.
Plants are growing.
Rivers are flowing.
Rivers are flowing.
Birds are flying.
Birds are flying.
Whales are diving.
Welcome back, kids. Science is really interesting, isn't it? Keep your interest high because more discoveries awaits as we proceed to our second activity, which can be found on page 10 of your module. So let us listen once again to our radio teacher.
This time, let's explore Activity 2 entitled Windy Encounter on page 9 to 10 of your module. This is all about applying the process called winnowing and describe what factor from environment helps farmers do their work easily. To deal it with, you have to prepare the needed materials written in your module. Read and follow the directions properly. Answer the guide questions in a sentence. Try to discover and have a keen observation.
Science is cool for me and you, learning how things work and what they do. Use your five senses every day. Observe all around as you work and play.
Are you ready? So think wisely, express your ideas clearly, feel relaxed, and be happy while doing your activity later.
To have full understanding about a recent activity, your radio teacher will now give you the key concepts to sum up the important things that you need to remember. So pay attention, kids. Take it away, Teacher Steven.
Hello! How was your understanding about your activity? Do you know what the meaning of winnowing is? Winnowing is a technique to separate lighter and heavier components of mixture by wind or by blowing air. The rice grains are placed in a bilao. Then, the mixtures inside this woven tray is tossed in the air so that the wind blows away the lighter calf and letting the heavier grains fall back into the winnowing fan.
Evidence is like a
Kids, we are here to investigate once again about the technique of separating mixtures. Provide what you need and perform the task carefully. Your observations before and after doing the task will be recorded. Answer each guide questions in a sentence correctly. Answer this. Take your time in doing your activity, and I know that you can do it. Enjoy your time in learning.
I know you can wait any longer, but we will give you time later to perform your activity. So hang on and pay attention as your radio teacher will explain in detail the important concepts for you to fully understand.
Hi there! It is fascinating to see objects that stick to a magnet, correct? The illustration shows a magnet being used to separate staple wires from the mixture in the plate. By using magnet, you can separate the metallic from non-metallic components of a mixture. For example, when iron filings are mixed with sand, you can easily separate these components from each other. How? Just stick a piece of magnet on the mixture and you can have the iron filings on it.
Kids, are you enjoying your learning experience? I'm pretty sure you are. Meanwhile, stay still and be ready for our next activity to explore. The title is Parting Ways. Turn on still to page 11 of your module and lend your ear to Teacher Steven to follow correctly the instructions given.
Hi! Today, you will think once again of another way by which you could separate mixtures by different techniques and observe what happened. We are now on activity 4. In this activity, you will observe that the rice grains will settle in the bottom and you can see the water suspended over the rice grains. There is a list of materials that you need and the steps on what to do. Read the instructions carefully. Be sure to record your observations before and after the rice grains settled. The last part of this activity is answering the guide questions, and be sure to answer each in a sentence. After this, I will give you enough time to answer the given activities. It was so nice to know that you are all smart.
Kids, can you still follow? Mind all the instruction given by your radio teacher. To find out more about Activity 4, continue to be motivated and focus to master the concepts that will be shared by your teacher on the air. Back to you, Teacher Steven.
Kids, are you still there? We all know that sedimentation is the process of separating an insoluble solid from a liquid in which it is suspended by allowing it to settle to the bottom of the container. Can you produce a clean water out of a muddy soil using sedimentation? Think about it. For you to gain more knowledge, let yourself engage in the activity. Can you do it? I'm sure you can.
You're on the right track. I'm glad that while you stay focused, you gain understanding. But that doesn't end there. Have you tried separating oil from water? Let us investigate Activity 5, 2-in-1 package, page 12 to 13 of your module. Keep your ears open as you listen once again to the voice of your radio teacher.
Hello, kids! Let's continue our adventure. Are you ready? At the end of this activity, you are expected to describe the techniques in separating mixtures. Look at the list of materials that you will be using to perform the activity. In this activity, you will need extra time and care in handling materials. Read and follow each directions carefully. Fill in the table properly and answer the guide questions in a sentence form. You will be given an ample amount of time to finish the activity. I'm hoping that you will have more fun to learn this, learning by doing activities. Keep it up!
Can you still follow? Kids, bear in mind all the given instruction by your radio teacher and stay focused. By doing so, I will assure you to have a very fruitful learning experience. At this point, let us listen once again to your teacher for further explanation. Don't forget to write the important details.
Well, let's learn together about the techniques in separating mixture. Another technique is called decantation. Decantation involves two processes: settling and pouring. You will notice that this process can be used in separating solid-liquid and liquid-liquid components of a mixture. I am so thankful that you are still there and very active in participating in the given task. Don't you know, kids, that more exciting activities are waiting for you? Have more fun in learning! Hi! Coming up next is a great learning wherein you have the chance to learn across the previous experimental learnings. Let's have Activity 6 on page 14 of your module, which entitled Trapped at the Tunnel. In this activity, you will separate soil and water mixture. Yes, kids, you can separate the mixture by using a funnel, filter paper, and a bottle. Look at the setup. The residue is the soil, while the filtrate is the water. Amazing! Soil separate from water. The process is called filtration. Filtration is the process of separating solid substance from a liquid with the aid of a filter paper or cloth that can be used as a filtering medium. The residue is trapped by the filtering medium while the filtrate will pass through. Now it's your turn to answer the guide questions. Do it well, kids! I hope we are all having fun. Hi kids! Let's do activity 7. Okay, fine. Have you observed a carpenter separating fine and coarse sand? That's another method in separating mixture known as sieving. Open your module on page 15. Sieving is a process of separating mixture which is composed of dry materials of different sizes. The mixture is placed in the sieve which is commonly moved back and forth. The mixture will be separated into two components, fine and coarse particles. The particles which are coarse will be left in the sieve, while the fine particles will pass through. Now it's your time to answer the guide questions in your module. You can do it, kids! Hello kids, I'm back. Kindly open your module on page 16. Let's do activity 8, crystal evidence. Kids, study the jumbled process of evaporation. Evaporation is the separation of components by heating a solution until the liquid turns to gas, leaving the solids behind. Find out what is the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth process. Then fill in the flow chart below and answer the questions. You can do it, kids! I know all of you are smart. Take your time, kids!
Listen closely as I will give to you a recap of all the learnings you had for today's broadcast. Mixtures can be separated using different techniques such as picking them out through the hands. These components can be classified according to physical characteristics like size, shape, color, and texture. Winnowing is done by separating heavy and light components of a mixture through a device and by the wind or by blower. Using magnet is done by separating the metallic and non-metallic components of a mixture. Sedimentation is the process of allowing the solid precipitate of a mixture to settle down at the bottom, leaving an upper liquid layer. Decantation is done by allowing the solution to settle at the bottom of the container and pour the particle-free part of the liquid. Decantation is done by allowing the solution to settle at the bottom of the container and pouring off the particle-free part of the liquid. Filtration is used for separating the undissolved solids from liquids by using a filter. Sieving is done by allowing the dry mixture with different sizes to pass through a device with tiny holes. And lastly, evaporation is the separation of components by heating a solution until the liquids turn to gases, leaving the solids behind.
Do you like more exciting activities? If so, let's answer what's more on page 19 of your module. Read and understand the directions carefully. Got it, kids? After doing all the activities, let us now check once again your understanding by completing the given exercises of what I have learned on page 20 of your module. You are asked to fill in the web map in the correct separation technique of its description. In what I can do part of your module, you will decide what should be done in each situation. Write your answer on the space provided for each number. You will be given enough time to answer. Your brilliant ideas are great to help enhance your understanding. Come on, kids, you can do it. Well, we got loads of new and interesting learnings in our science class. Always remember that studying science helps our understanding of the... You know, I feel great for I had the pleasure of spending the day with you kids. Thank you so much for tuning in our school on the air. This is Teacher Steven. See you next time.
It was indeed an awesome learning experience as you discover all the techniques in separating mixtures. I am 100% sure that you mastered our lesson for today. Congratulations, kids! Well done! If there are parts that you feel confused, just write your questions at the back of your module, or you can text directly your advisor. They are all ready to help you with your concerns. The learning never ends, and the fun will continue. Until next time, this is Teacher Gladys Mir Puntongan, your host for today's broadcast. Happy to serve you! Always remain open. Always remain open to learn new things. If you don't learn, you will not grow. Until next time, have a great day and God bless everyone.
Radyo ESKWELA.
Alright, maugad to ang nahimong RBI sa Science Grade 6. Congratulations sa scriptwriter Jonabel Pancho Domanig.
Ayan.
Ang taga Singaw Elementary School.
Ayan, of course, sa ating radio teacher, Sir Steven Pahang. Ayan, congratulations. Also with Ma'am Gladys and yours truly. And pasalamatan nato ang Science Coordinator, of course, Ma'am Lourdes Kahulugan. Ma'am, daghan kaing salamat, especially sa support. And also, RBI Coordinator po, Kidapawan City Division, Ma'am Shirley Dua, may hapon.
Alright, so tay igong oras, so hatagan na to higayon nga pasalamatan ang mga nagpasiugda.
Alright, ang nagapasalamat gyud ang Kidapawan City Division, pinaagi gyud kay SDS Omar A. Obas and Mamasmin Isla our ASDS, especially po sa ating sponsor, ang ating partner with Love John Incorporated, headed by Dr. Bernie Miguel, and also sa ato ang coordinator, Sir Ian Domingo. Daghang salamat sa atong mga listeners karon, grade 5 and grade 6 sa atong science, sa mga ginikanan, stakeholders, sa tanan natong partners, daghang kayong salamat. And I hope nga katong tanan pagtulunan magpabilin gyud, and please focus ninyo ang inyong mga modules sa other subjects ug mga adlaw, at ang usab ang English grade 5 and 6 and Phil 5 and grade 6. Salamat sa inyong pakiguban. Sa ngalan sa atong kauban si Gladys Samir Pontongan, kini si Crizaldian Sampani Viñez.
Ug ato tong pasalamatan ang CID Chief Dr. Melrose Peralta. Ug sa ngalan na lamang sa With Love John Foundation Incorporated, ang Department of Education Kidapawan City Division, mao kanang pagatud kaninyo sa atong Radyo ESKWELA karong hapon. Ako si Marlon Bulasa ug taliwala nining COVID-19. I am a fighter, not a quitter.
Inyong napakinggan ang Radyo ESKWELA, programang inihatid ng With Love John Foundation Incorporated sa ilalim ng pamumuno ni Dr. Bernie Miguel sa pakikipagtulungan ng Department of Education, Kidapawan City Division, Provincial Government of Cotabato at ng Notre Dame Broadcasting Corporation. Radyo ESKWELA, hanggang sa susunod na pagsasahing papawid. Maraming salamat.
Radyo Bida. Radyo Bida. 747 sa inyong mga biitan. Dito, Bida ka.
Napakahirap magkasakit sa mga panahong ito, lalo na laganap ang iba't ibang uri ng karamdaman sa ating kapaligiran. Prevention is better than cure, ika nga. Konting kirot na pwedeng lumala, alamin mo na agad. Tumutok sa programang tutugon sa inyong problemang pangkalusugan at kasagutan sa inyong mga karamdaman. Lagi natin isaalang-alang na ang kalusugan ay kayamanan. Kaya naman, makinig na at alamin ang mga paraan kung paano makakaiwas sa sakit sa programang Kalusugan Mo, Sagot Ko. Handog ng Gold Shine Pharmaceuticals Incorporated.
Usa ka may ditong pagpangamusta na usab diha kaninyo mga igala. Kumusta? Naginaot kita nga okay lang kamo maski dili. Let me borrow sa good thoughts on law of attraction nga gi-share ni Cotabato Governor Nancy Catamco that says your mind is a magnet. If you think of blessings, you attract blessings. If you think of problems, you attract problems. So always cultivate good thoughts and remain positive. So always think positive para positive din ang ma-attract nato, dili nang pagmata bad words dayon. So bad vibes sad ang ato ang ma-attract ni ana. Pareha lang sad na sa tuang habit. Kung habit nato mag-inom og healthy coffee every morning sama sa Jim's Coffee 5-in-1 ba or 7-in-1, magandang kalusugan din ang atong maangkon. So always start your day with positive thoughts kauban ang Jim's Health Coffee Mixes. Mga igala kini na usab ng inyong atian, usa ka mainitong pagpangalagad na usab sa kahanginan ang atong dalit diha kaninyo. Today mga igala mga ka-Jims, let's have another special topic kay sugod ni adtong October 12 hangtod ugma October 20 atong ginaselebrar ang Bone and Joint Action Week kung asa naka-focus kini sa mga disorder sama sa arthritis or kining very common nga rayuma, back pain or pananakit ng likod, trauma, pediatric conditions ug osteoporosis. Kining maong selebrasyon ginahimo aron syempre tagaan og espesyal nga panahon ang pagkatag og awareness not only dinhi sa atuang nasud but worldwide kabahin sa mga prevention, disease management ug treatment. Ato kanang hisgutan mga igala pagkauman sa pipila sa atong mga pahinumdom kalabot sa atong mga produkto.
Ikaw ba ay nagbabawas ng sugar intake pero gusto mo pa rin magkape? Mag-Jims 5-in-1 no sugar added na. Sweetened with stevia. Ang Jims 5-in-1 coffee no sugar added ay may unique blend of coffee, creamer, Korean ginseng, agaricus mushroom, and stevia. Ang stevia ay isang mainam na low-calorie sugar substitute. Ang Jims 5-in-1 no sugar added ay mayroon ding Korean ginseng, agaricus mushroom na maaring makatulong sa pagpapalakas ng ating immune system. Sa panahon ngayon, dapat matibay tayo laban sa sakit. Mag-Jims 5-in-1 Coffee Mix, no sugar added. Ito ang kape ko.
Ang sarap mo talaga, Jims.
Available in all leading supermarkets, groceries, and drugstores nationwide.
Mga higala, padayon gihapon ang hulga kanato ni ining COVID-19 hangtod nga wa pay tambal batok ni ini. Matod sa mga health experts, ang pagpakusog sa ato ang immune system mao'y usa sa pinakaimportante aron makalikay kita ni ini. Busa mga higala, inom og Jims Herbal Capsule Food Supplement nga tested and proven na sa daghang mga users nga epektibo sa pagpaligon, pagpakusog sa ato ang immune system. Kana tungod kay ang Jims Herbal Capsule adunay sagol nga malunggay, lagundi, ampalaya, sambong ug vitamin C. Immune booster na, barato pa. Jims Herbal Capsule, mapalit sa inyong mga suking butika.
Naghahanap ka ba ng bagong kape? Siguradong mai-inlove kayo sa bagong Jim's Grande Coffee Mix. Jim's Grande Coffee Mix ay ang pinakabagong produkto ng Goldshine Pharmaceuticals Incorporated na may tatlong variants: Jim's Grande White, Jim's Grande Brown, at Jim's Grande Black. Sakto sa panlasa ng bawat isa. Swak din ito sa ating bulsa dahil 5 pesos and 95 centavos lang ang suggested retail price kada sachet. Kaya kung kapeng-kape ka na, mag-Jim's Grande Coffee Mix na. Coffee? Make it Grande!
Ang sarap mo talaga, James.
Available na sa mga leading supermarkets, groceries at sari-sari stores.
Sakit sa ulo, sakit sa lawas, kakapoy sa trabaho, panghaplas ug Jim's Oil Liniment, kagat sa mananap, rayuma, arthritis, panghaplas ug Jim's Oil Liniment. Jim's Oil Liniment adunay sagol nga methyl salicylate, Camphor plus menthol. Maunga sa kada panghaplas, kalami sa pamati. Jim's Oil Liniment, available in 30 and 60 ml. Mapalit sa inyong mga suking butika.
Sa dami ng klase ng mga naglalabasang kape, dapat maging mapanuri. Dito ka na sa kumpleto. Dapat Jim's 7-in-1 Coffee Mix. May sangkap na Korean ginseng na nakakatulong para maging masigla, malakas ang katawan at magpatalas ng memorya. May agaricus mushroom na mabisang antioxidants, mayaman sa vitamins, minerals at beta-glucan. Meron din itong spirulina na mayaman sa protina. Ganoderma, nakakatulong proteksyonan ng atay, balansa ng kolesterol at magandang sirkulasyon ng dugo para tulungang lumakas ang immune system, sabayan ng proper diet at healthy lifestyle. At uminom ng Jim's 7-in-1 Coffee Mix. Ang kapeng kakaiba. Mabibili ang Jim's 7-in-1 Coffee Mix sa mga leading groceries, supermarkets, and drugstores nationwide.
Ang sarap mo talaga, James.
Now available, Jim's 5-in-1 No Sugar Added, Jim's Grande White, Jim's Grande Brown, at Jim's Grande Black.
Wow! Ikaw ba yan, Jen?
Ako to.
Ikaw ba yan, Kim?
Ako to.
Bes, ikaw ba yan?
Ako to.
Sila nga yan. Pumuti at kuminis lang. Ang sikreto, akot with collagen. Angat sa iba. Dahil dito, pinaghalo ang kojic acid at collagen para ang kutis mo noon mas maganda, maputi at makinis ngayon.
Wow! Ikaw ba yan, sir?
Ako to. Akoto Kojic Acid Soap with Collagen, the secret of beautiful skin. Dermatologically tested. Available in leading supermarkets and drugstores.
Parang kita mga higala sa ito ang tulumanon, kahinisog mo tubagun ko again kining atong programa mga higala hatod kaninyo sa lamian og healthy nga mga produkto sa Goldshine Pharmaceuticals sa Jim's Health Coffee Mixes, Jim's Herbal Capsule Food Supplement, Akoto Kojic Acid Soap with Collagen plus Vitamin E ug Jim's Liniment Oil. Of course ang atuang topic karon kabahin ni ining Bone and Joint Action Week. Hatod ganinyo sa Jim's Liniment Oil. Dakong tabang mga higala alang sa mga panakit sa atuang mga kalawasan, mga muscle pains, panakit ng mga kasukasuan sa atong mga oldies diha, mga medyo mga idaran na, sakit na pirmi ang tuhod. Hala, aron nga ma-relieve ang mga panakit sa atong mga tuhod, mga muscles, haplasi sa tuang Jim's Liniment Oil. Barato lang, more than 30 pesos lang sad ang atuang 60 ml, 66 pesos lang sad. Mapalit ka na mga higala sa inyong mga suking mga butika and even sa inyong mga suking mga grocery stores. Bueno mga higala, padayon kita atong isgutan karon mga higala mga ka-Jims, unsa ang mga common nga mga sakit sa atong mga kabukugan, sa atong mga joints, and very common ni ana syempre kining rheuma or arthritis. Mga kaibigan mga ka-Jims, hindi na maitatago pa kung nagkakaedad na dahil sa pagkakaroon ng rheuma o pananakit ng tuhod. Palatandaan daw ito na tumatanda na. Kung dati-rati ay madaling akyatin ang hagdanan at lumakad ng malayuan na walang anumang masakit na nararamdaman, nang magkaroon ng rheuma, naging pahirapan na ang paghakbang tabang. Ang dating maliksing pagkilos ng mga paa ay naging mabagal na nang tumama ang rayuma sa tuhod. Bakit kaya nagkakarayuma at ano ang dahilan nito? May paraan ba para hindi ito sapitin ng isang tao? Mayroon bang gamot na nakapagpapagaling sa sakit na ito? Maraming uri ng rayuma, kung tawagin sa Ingles ay arthritis. Ngunit ang dalawa sa pinakamadalas maranasan ng tao ay ang tinatawag na osteoarthritis at rheumatoid arthritis. Bagamat pareho silang nasa kategorya ng arthritis at parehong nagdudulot ng masakit na pakiramdam, sila ay nagkaiba dahil ang osteoarthritis ay bunga ng pagnipis at pagkasira ng cartilage. Ang cartilage ay makikita sa dulo ng magkarugtong na buto para huwag itong magkiskisan. Kadalasang nasisira o numinipis ang cartilage ng joint dala ng palagiang paggamit at paggalaw ng mga kasukasuan sa mahabang panahon. Ang tuhod, dahil sa trabaho nitong saluhin ang malaking bigat ng katawan, bukod sa paggalaw ng palagian, ay isa sa madalas tamaan ng osteoarthritis. Samantala, ang rheumatoid arthritis ay problema rin sa kasukasuan, ngunit ang dahilan ng sakit na ito ay ang mismong immune system ng katawan ang umaatake sa lining ng kasukasuan. Kung bakit ito nangyayari ay hindi pa matukoy ang dahilan. Ang mga joints o kasukasuan ay binubuo ng magkahugpong na mga buto. Maayos ang paggalaw ng bawat joints dahil sa suporta ng mga nakapalibot dito gaya ng cartilage, ligaments, synovial membrane, tendons, bursa at synovial fluid. Kapag nasira o nawala sa normal na forma ang isa sa mga suportang ito, mararamdaman ang pananakit. Apektado na rin ang abilidad sa paggalaw dahil sa paninigas at limitado ang pagkilos dahil madalas ay may kasabay itong pamamaga. Ang osteoarthritis ang pinakakaraniwang uri ng arthritis. Masasabing normal ito sa matatanda, ngunit para maiwasan ang pagkakaroon nito sa batang edad, ngunit kailangan din ng iba yung pag-iingat. So narito ang mga dapat na gawin. Panatilihin ang iyong tamang timbang. Kung ikaw ay overweight, mainam na magbawas na ng timbang habang maaga pa bago mo pa sapitin ang mas malalang problema. Ang labis na katabaan ay nagbibigay ng mas maraming puwersa sa mga kasukasuan tulad ng tuhod, balakang at mga paa na siyang nagdadala ng kabuuang bigat ng katawan. Ang cartilage na nagsisilbing shock absorber ng mga buto ay napupunit o numinipis at nasisira kapag puwersado ang trabaho. Mag-ehersisyo. Mahalagang malakas ang mga kalamnan ng paa, lalo na ang mga muscle na nasa harapan ng hita. Mapapalakas ito sa pamamagitan ng squat na uri ng exercise. Maaari ring gawin ang paboritong sports bilang exercise. Palaging mag-ingat upang hindi ma-injure o mapinsala ang mga kasukasuan. Alamin ang mga tamang hakbang bago magsimula ng isang sport o exercise. Kinabibilangan ito ng warm-up, stretching, cool down, tamang suot sa paa at iba pa. May pag-aaral kasi na mas tumataas ang tsansa ng osteoarthritis sa joint na unang napinsala noong bata pa. Kumain ng mga pagkaing mayaman sa omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin C at vitamin D. Bagamat hindi tuwirang sinasabi na may mga pagkaing makakasugpo sa osteoarthritis, ang tatlong mga nabanggit na nutrients ay nakakabawas ng panganib at pumipigil sa paglala ng sakit na ito sa kasukasuan. Ang osteoarthritis ay isang uri ng karamdaman na pangmatagalan. Ibig sabihin, ang sira ng kasukasuan ay hindi na maibabalik sa anyong gaya ng dati. Gayunpaman, mayroon pa ring mga gamutan na nakatuon sa paggamot ng mga sintomas gaya ng pagsakit, paninigas at pamamaga. Ang mga konserbatibong paraan